Am I wrong for asking my husband to block his female friend who warned him not to marry me? I, 26 female, want my husband, 27 male, to immediately block one of his friends, Kyla, 27 female. He thinks I'm overreacting and wants opinions from some cool-headed people on if I'm just acting crazy or this is something that would cross the line for you. Right off the bat, cross the line for me. There is no reason for, unless you are batshit psycho crazy, right? And I'm like, bro, do not marry this chick. Out of concern, okay? But if it's like some sort of like jealous thing, and I don't like the fact that it's coming from someone who's a girl. I can tell my girlfriends don't marry this dude, and then if she still does, I can still like act cordial. But I'm not gonna tell a dude that. It's weird. No, not to me. Personally, no. My husband has a group of 8 friends he is close with since college days. Also, wait, why do guys say this stuff though? Like, oh, like this is my close friend. Why would that ever come up? Like if I had a close guy friend like that, okay? And I'm just being dead serious, like, hey, dude, I don't think you should marry her, but I respect your choices. I think it can come off nicely, right? It can come off as like true form of advice. It's up to him to how he takes it. If he wants to, it's like I'll respect whatever decision you make, but me personally knowing you and knowing who you're picking, I don't think this is a good match for you. Out of concern, I would say that. If he goes and tells her, what the fudge? What good does that do? That just shows you didn't respect our relationship as friends and you don't respect your relationship with your wife. What's the point of saying that? A lot of people say a lot of stuff during the marriage process and you have to compartmentalize a lot of stuff. So sorry, that's my 2 cents on that. My husband has a group of 8 friends he is close with since his college days. Kyla is one of his friends. When my husband and I started dating, he introduced me to all of them, and everyone was very friendly. I used to hang out with them frequently. I'm an introvert, and so is my husband. I would always ask him to spend time alone, as being in social settings just saps all my energy away. His friends, and especially Kyla, always made it a point to tell me how he hangs out with them less after he started dating me. Yeah, that's kind of the point. That's like very normal, because all of your time would be with your friends. Now you have a new priority. You're gonna hang out with me more. Kyla also had a weird energy around me. If I was with my husband, she would be the most friendliest with me. However, as soon as he walked away, she acted like I did not exist. My husband hates to be touched by others, but Kyla would always tease him by trying to hug him, mess with his hair, etc. I never felt like she was flirting with him, but just teasing him to make him annoyed. Overall, she just feels like a person who has severe social boundary issue. We got married 2 years ago, and things have been great between us. Last week, we had our 2nd marriage anniversary and invited a bunch of people. His friends stayed back after all the guests left, and we were all drinking and chatting. One of his friends, Jen, became a little bit tipsy and started complimenting me on how beautiful our house is, and how I care for my husband, and how he has changed for the better since marriage. Everyone was laughing at my husband at how much of a slob he was when he was single. Jen then pointed at Kyla and said, "You better pay up, because you had bet that their marriage would not even last for 2 years." Everyone became silent and started changing the topic. I did not want to spoil the mood and let it go, but it stuck in my head. Okay, take back a lot of things I said. I would never bet against someone's marriage. This makes more sense as why. Okay, good for him for not spilling the beans. I wonder if he even knew this. I would cut someone off if I knew that. If someone told me I bet your marriage wouldn't last X amount of years, whatever. That's not a friend. After everyone left, I asked my husband what Jen was talking about. He also noticed Jen saying that and was ready for the full explanation. He told me the story of what happened when we got engaged. When he had proposed to me, he had not told his friends that he was going to do that. We went on a trip to Puerto Rico and he surprised me there. We put our engagement pictures on Instagram while we were on the trip, and it was a big surprise to everyone as we were only dating for 1 year. When he came back and met all of his friends, everyone congratulated him. However, Kyla started ranting about how he was a fool to propose so quickly, and she felt that I was not the right girl for him. Seems like she said some unkind things about me, implying I was a gold digger. My husband's family is wealthy, but so is mine. She had said that she bet that we would break up within 2 years if we got married. That is why Jen was taunting her about how happy my husband was with me. I was very furious at this point, as I felt this is something he should have told me. I asked him to tell me truthfully if he had ever dated Kyla or had any history with her, and he has always told me that he has never dated anyone from his friend group. He said that he has of course not dated or hooked up with Kyla. However, Kyla had asked him out a few times when they were in college, and he always politely declined. I asked why he said no to her, and he said he just doesn't have any romantic feelings for her. I can see that because my husband does have a type based on me or the other people he has dated in the past, and Kyla is the opposite of that. I'm just mad at her for saying bad things about me, especially after knowing that we are already engaged and betting against my marriage. I told my husband that he needs to minimize contact with Kyla and she is not invited to parties at our house anymore. He feels I am being too harsh for something she said almost 3 years ago. He also pointed out that she has been very supportive to both of us and has also helped a lot during our wedding arrangements. He feels she is just blunt and forthright when she speaks, but does not mean those things. He told me to take some time and calm down, and we would revisit the topic in a week. He is worried this will completely change the dynamics with his friend group. Okay, what I said still stands, right? I had a completely different thought process when it came to how this came about. As a friend, I would have politely talked to my friend and like said, hey, if I had concerns and say, hey, I see these really alarming things in your spouse. I just want to make sure you're aware of the situation that you're going to be jumping into. I'm there if you need me, right? Or if I see my friend having doubts or in a really bad situation, then I would say something. But this was just bad, evil, petty, okay? Contrary to like what the West believes, 1 year is more than enough to know someone to get married. You do not need to do X, Y, and Z, all these things that you guys think you need to do to find out if you want to live with someone and create a happy life together. You don't need to do that. 1 year is more than enough of getting to know someone. So that's not a good reason. And to tell him like, I bet your marriage won't even last 2 years. I would have cut you off right there. I wouldn't even consider you anything. And I think he's just holding on to her there because she's part of the dynamic, and he's right. It's going to change it. It's going to be awkward, whatever. But I don't care. I would not have that around me. If someone ever spoke about my husband like that, you're done. And I'm telling you, if I'm having doubts myself, right, that's different. But if I'm telling you, hey, I love this man. He's a great person. I want him to spend the rest of my life with him. Support me. And you say that shit. And it's very obvious from what he's saying too. She likes him and she's sad that he's getting married and he's going to be officially off the market. And then that whole gold digger comment. No, don't like this. Wait, there's a little part I forgot to say this. So she said, am I the asshole for wanting him to block her and stop inviting her to our house? Do you think I'm overreacting? I think betting against our marriage and bad-mouthing me behind my back seems like a huge betrayal. I'm also mad at my husband that he kept this fact from me and also never told me that Kyla asked him out during college days. Am I just being crazy and reactive? How would you react in this situation? I don't want to distance my husband from his friends, but I also do not want to see that Kyla's face again. No, I agree with you. 1000%. I like saying that to someone, and you obviously like, why was she so against you two getting married? What were the reasons? I need to hear like what it was. If sometimes there's like very alarming things that you see in someone and you just have to say them, but like I can't think of anything besides just that she's jealous that you're getting married. Ugh.
Am I the asshole for telling my husband's kids how broke he was when we met after they insinuated that I was a gold digger? I've 38 female, been married to my husband Rob, 52 male, for 4 years now. My husband's late wife died 1 year before we met, and we dated 2 years before getting married. He has 2 kids. 28, Madison, and 26, Brett. Note, I am not calling them my stepkids because they explicitly told me I am not their stepmom. I am just their dad's wife. I didn't play a part in raising them, so I'm okay with that. It's always been tense between us. I've tried my best to be kind to them and have been generous when I can be, but they are still very cold with me. Being a child of divorce, I can partially relate to a parent moving on, so I try not to force anything. Madison recently got engaged, and we are very excited about it. Everyone was over recently, and she asked about a wedding budget from us, and Rob told her he was able to contribute $10K. She had bigger hopes for her wedding than this, so she was upset and kept asking for more. Rob, however, is still working hard on building his savings back up. Before his late wife died, he basically wiped out his cash savings, had to cash out his 401k, and even took a small mortgage on his house to cover medical costs, as well as life expenses, since he had to cut back on working. Eventually, he had to drop that job for a more flexible but lower paying one, so this 10K is actually really generous for him. Rob went to run an errand, and it was just me and his kids. Madison then asked me if I'm going to give any addition to what her dad is giving. I told her we were a marital unit, and that's what we discussed together as a reasonable amount to contribute. She then said, quote, I should have known. Obviously, you married an older man for what he had, not for what you could give. I knew she didn't like me, but this is the most flat-out rude thing she has ever said.
What a brat. You were too old to be acting like that.
28, ma'am. I kind of lost it and said, quote, excuse me? Who do you think has been paying the second mortgage your dad took out to pay his debts? Truth of the matter is, I make more than her father by a large margin. I have no debt and have been paying 70% of the household bills the whole time we've been married. The 10K we are giving her is available because I've been able to subsidize her father's living expenses for the last few years.
Did she tell her all this? I hope so.
I made it clear that not only am I not a gold digger, I am literally wealthier than my older husband. She called me stuck up after this and stormed out. Then she called her dad later and said that I told her that I blamed her mother for being sick for her not having a better wedding budget. I told him what happened and he was mad at her, but also said I shouldn't have shared his financial details with his kids.
Why not?
It's the truth of the matter.
Why not?
Tell the truth. You are not entitled to anyone else's money for your wedding. If you can't afford what you want, you need to scale it back. That is not anyone else's problems but your own.